Good evening. You are live. We are live. That's better. Of another episode of the UK Colts Fans podcast, episode 6, I believe. Today, joining me, we like going back to back with special guests. Last night we had Cody on from Bring the Juice. Tonight we have just as important and it's just as big from the Un-American Football Show podcast and massive Colts fan, Nate, joining us. Nate, how's it going, bud?
Yeah, no, I'm really good. I think you've oversold me immediately as being just as big as Cody. Those are some big boots to fill and big cleats to fill, and I'm not sure I'm going to live up to that hype. But it's nice to be here regardless.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice having another English fan on who is a Colts fan. Apart from the little group that we have, the little WhatsApp group that we have, and the little community that we have with my friends, I'm actually shocked to believe there's other Colt fans in the UK out there. I thought there was all Lions and Browns and New York fans. Before we get into that, just tell the people who Nate is and what the Un-American podcast, the Un-American show or Un-American podcast, which one do you prefer?
The Un-American Football Show.
That one.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a Colts fan since the Super Bowl win against the Bears. Well, I did pick the Colts 30 seconds before we kicked off, so I wasn't glory hunting quite. I had no idea what was going on. And I was pretty casual for a few years, and then Andrew Luck happened, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting." And I've been hooked ever since. Obviously, then last October, November, very much as we're fed up of lockdown. Ruining our fun. Let's start a podcast. Me and some friends, none of whom are Colts fans. In fact, they're like the two worst teams they could possibly be to start a podcast with: Cowboys and Patriots.
Oh,
yeah, it's really scraping the barrel, isn't it? But so we started a podcast. Yeah, we spoke a lot in our fantasy group. Like every Sunday, we were talking. I was like, some of this stuff could definitely go out and be made available to the public because my co-host Alan, the Cowboys fan, is just full of shit. So I thought it would be entertaining, and it's a really good laugh. Yeah, we got our numbers of view listeners isn't amazing yet, but we're not really doing it for that. It's just fun mainly. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I speak to a lot of guys, and a lot of people do this job. I say it's a job, but hobby is more the correct word for fun because, if I really wanted to, I could go out there. I could be telling people to buy merch and bang the like buttons and all that jazz and buying subscribers like you can do nowadays and fans.
Yeah.
But for people who actually really just enjoy chatting shit is what we do, really. Very uneducatedly, because we're English, we can't know anything about American football. It's just a good laugh. Yeah,
and that's it. We have a lot of fun chats off the back of our football fantasy football league. And I just thought, the public needs to hear this shit because, again, Alan just absolutely full of it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's nice to see the game is getting bigger over here.
Yeah.
Every year, innit? I mean, hopefully, I do hope to get to a Colts game over in America, but before that, Wembley or the Spurs ground.
So I was at the Jacksonville defeat at Wembley. I mean, how we didn't win that game is beyond me. We were dreadful, but
we always had one bad game against Jacksonville. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know how. But we always go, we'll let them win one. It's like we feel sorry for the deranged younger brother of the division.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just take a sip of my tea, like a typical English broadcaster. That makes a great TV. Me taking a sip of a cup of tea. Okay, so to start the show off, really, let's talk about the major and the biggest off signing of the season, which was Carson Wentz coming from Philadelphia. Was Carson Wentz your guy before this signing?
No. I was all in. I was all about Matthew Stafford. That's the guy I wanted to bring in. I think Stafford's been in a horrible situation for the majority of his career. Right, the Lions, he may have made the off season once or twice, but he's never had a great squad around him. Not a great squad, he's at times had a few decent players here and there, but he's always been in a crappy situation. I just thought put him in behind what is, fast becoming the best O-line in the league. Behind Quentin Nelson, he can cover 3 positions at once. He'll put a block in at left guard and then he'll make a block at right tackle. Yeah. And I was hoping that maybe there was going to be a draft player slotting in next to him, which hasn't been the case. But it was very much Matthew Stafford was my guy. But I'm coming around. I've come around. I'm not even coming around to it. I have come around to the Carson Wentz signing. It's unbelievably cheap.
Yeah.
Was it a third round this year and a second maybe first round next year?
Yeah.
I mean, Philly are paying him more this year to play for the Colts than the Colts are paying him to play for the Colts. It's crazy. It's ridiculous, but that's football and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, would you have give up what the Rams gave up for Matthew Stafford? Because in the look of it, they give up quite a lot.
It was a little pricey. It was a little bit pricey for my liking. But at the same time, I think that, I mean, he's more of a sure thing than Carson Wentz at this stage is. Does he instantly make us contenders for the Super Bowl? Probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think maybe I would have done. I would have begrudgingly paid it maybe, but it wasn't to be, and I was steaming when it didn't go through. But I'm all right with it now because we've got. I think there's a lot of upsides to Carson Wentz. There's a high ceiling, maybe a low floor, but there's a really high ceiling.
Yeah.
And behind an O-line that can protect him, it's a really, really high ceiling.
And I mean, for the O-line, it's win-win because obviously we had one-legged Philip Rivers out there last year who did a half-decent job behind the Great Wall of Indy. That's the nickname. Yeah. So, I mean, when the rumours started that Rivers was coming to Indy, I was really, really pissed off about it. And I was like, why do it this year for 1 year? Because I was like, in my head, I was like, it's always going to be 1 year because he's not going to be good enough to get us to the postseason. Well, obviously, I'm glad that I was wrong. He started really slowly. I was awful in the game against Jacksonville week 1. But he slowly brought us back into contention. And, in the end, we were unlucky not to win the division. I think, that Patriots game, sorry, not the Patriots, the Steelers game, if that swings the direction it should have done where the referees aren't robbing us blind. We win the division. We might not have gone any further, but I think the last 5-6 weeks he was very good. And I came away pleased that we picked him up for the year. I'm really looking forward to seeing Wentz get back to MVP kind of play because he's back in a Reich offense. The noise coming out of camp, out of the OTAs, seems like he's really, really, really in a good spot. He's fitting in well. He's getting involved in the actual discussions. He's not just learning the playbook. He's coming out. He's saying what's good, what's bad, what he's not so comfortable with. And that's what you want that's what you want QB1 to do. You want them to not only be a part of the discussion or just be a part of the room. You want them to
to go in there and lead. So the fact that he's doing it, it's really good noise, and I'm glad all the Eagles fans were warning us that he was going to be bad news. It was similar to the kind of noise coming out of Detroit when Ebron joined, and I'm glad this time the fans are being proven wrong.
Yeah, I mean, with Carson Wentz, you know, OTAs, spring training, off season, whatever you want to call it, is usually for the rookies, the fringe players, you know, the journeymen, to try and build a place in the squad. What I like is Carson Wentz has known he has to come into these OTAs and earn the respect. You know, he's not coming in off his game. He's not coming in. He's not been slagging off Philadelphia to T.Y. Hilton in the changing room or anything like that. And you see him, you know, playing ball with Mo Ali Cox in the shootout. He seems happy to be home.
Yeah, and he very much sort of feels like he is home from what we can work out. I think it's a really big thing that he's settling in well. Obviously, like I alluded to, you know, the relationship with Frank Reich. But he just seems to be slotting into the group really well. There seems to be a really good relationship building up with his teammates. I mean, I really like the fact that he did his mandatory like 2 weeks, and then he and a couple of other guys like Pittman and Campbell and people have stuck around for like the third week, which is supposed like generally for rookies only. Yeah. I like that he's put in that extra work in. He's and like, you know, right with Reich saying that humble pie is really good for you. They don't taste great, but it's really good for you to, you know, to have some humble pie and just take a step back and reflect on things. And it looks positive. It's everything coming out sounds positive. I'm sure it would. I'm sure the sound bites would make things seem positive, but it all sounds great. It all sounds great, and I'd like to try and keep a level head, but if I'm honest, I'm getting really excited for the season, and I think we could go and do bits.
Yeah. Comment from Lawrence Owen. Thanks for joining us, Lawrence. You know, it's always a pleasure. Rivers had a bad season before he came to the Colts. Also, yeah, he did. Probably Philip Rivers' worst season. When you are on a bad team and then go to a good team, it makes a big difference. Yeah, and this brings to a good point with Carson is he got sacked, what was it, 56 times last season? That's not happening behind this oil line.
No, exactly. I mean, in 2017, which was his potential MVP year and their Super Bowl year, he was sacked 28 times. Mm-hmm. 28 times in 13 games. That's more than he'll get sacked in Indy. Rivers got sacked 21 times, I think, last season. And you know, Rivers can't move. And when he does move, he's running in glue. So yeah, I'm not worried about. I'm not so worried about him getting hit. I said, you know, we've got a top 5 certainly, probably top 2 potentially best O-line in the league this season. I'm not worried about him getting hit overly. He'll take a few bumps. No quarterback escapes everything, but the guy is mobile. He's going to do some damage.
If Wentz played all 16 games last year, he would have been sacked 80 times. I mean, yeah, he didn't even play. That's a good point. He didn't even play all the games. And I think
he got benched week 11, didn't he?
Yeah, for me, that was Doug Peterson playing just horrible mind games with his quarterbacks. And it was just toxic for both Hurts and Wentz, because it's like you can't be playing around with who you want your starting quarterback to be at that point of the season, even when you are. But they weren't out of the playoff race, were they? Because they could have still won the division.
I mean, all of them. I think going into week 15, I think it was potentially it would have taken quite a swing, but all of them could have won the division still. And then obviously week 16, I think it was down to Washington and the Giants. But it's ridiculous. Don't get me started on that dumpster of a division, man. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, moving on from Carson, the other big signing, free agent signing, off-season signing, was Eric Fisher, left tackle. You know, I know you said it. You wish there was a draft pick there. but you must have been stoked when we picked up. He's pretty much an Anthony Costanzo replacement.
Yeah, I mean, he's more or less like for like, isn't he?
Yeah.
Similar age, still a similar kind of presence on the O line. It's concern the Achilles injury. It hampers everyone coming back.
Yeah.
With the Achilles and Achilles injury, you tend to lose a little bit of the explosiveness off of the line, regardless of how successfully you come back or not. Now, you could argue that no offensive lineman is overly explosive. They're not kind of there to be explosive. They're there to put up a wall and to hold their own, unless you're Quentin Nelson and then you just bully people and put them down. But I think it's an interesting pickup. He doesn't, he's never allowed a ton of sacks. He's really great on protection. So if he can recapture even 80% of some of his previous form, he's going to be one of the guys. He's going to be a big important part of that. I think we're probably looking at a 1-2 year deal at the most, and we'll be back in for a big tackle. Next year's draft class isn't going to be as big as this year's when it comes to linemen, but over the next two drafts, there are a few guys coming through that are going to be huge.
Or if you come in and watch this, hit the like, give the UK Colts. I mean, appreciate it, Lawrence. Do you know Lawrence Owen? Colts law?
I don't know.
No, he is this is why I appreciate it so much. He is a massive American podcaster for Colts fans. I might as well plug his show while he's giving us the support. Colts law on YouTube. Go and check him out. And for someone who does this as a full-time job and has other jobs on the side, to come and just chill out here for 10 minutes is massive. So thanks for coming in, Lawrence. Back to Fisher and the O-line. There's one thing that makes Fisher, top 10, top 5 left tackle again, and that's being next to Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson made Chaz Green and LaRaven Clark look like serviceable players.
Yeah, and we both know they're not. It's like Danny Pinter can come in and look half decent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I'm being a bit positive on Danny Pinter there, but you know what I mean. I think that's why I was looking forward to a draft prospect coming in, because everybody around Quentin Nelson's elevated immediately just for being next to Quentin Nelson. You'll learn so much off the guy, and he's gonna teach you, and he's a great guy to have in next to you in the trenches. So I think he'd a draft prospect would have been great. But having a proven guy in, even off of injury, is serious business. So
now to flip it over. Quick. They know each other also. They played next to each other in the 2018 football. That's
true. That's true. Well, how much do you get to know a guy?
Yeah, those probably by friends. Let's be honest.
In around that absolute shit show, because the Pro Bowl is a waste of time, isn't it? The only good thing about the Pro Bowl is those stupid games they play before the actual event. The game is nonsense. But it's a popularity contest, isn't it?
Yeah. There was probably shotgunning beers together. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Keg stands.
Yeah.
Big key of the keg stand, man.
Flipping it over to the other side of the ball now, and our first round draft pick. We had UK Colts fans and fans this side of the pond were alleviated that we finally had a reason to stay up for the first round of the draft. I was as soon as I realised Quitty Pay was available at 21, I was like, please don't trade. Please don't trade.
Yeah.
And then the stars aligned and we got who in my eyes was a top 10 pick, maybe top 15 pick at 21.
Yeah, so obviously there are still players that I would have liked to have taken. There were still players on the board. In my head, I wanted a tackle at 21. There were still players on the board that I thought were great options. However, At 21, Quitty Pay was the best player on the board, comfortably. I think top 10 is a push. I think top 20, top 15 certainly. You mentioned it's nice, going into the draft and having a first round pick. We won the first round last year without even drafting, getting DeForest Buckner.
Yeah.
But I think this year, I actually I took part in a first round mock draft for another podcast, another fan group for the 5 Yard college and those guys, and I picked Quitty Pay at 21. So I was he fell to me on the board, and there were a couple of linemen who were great at that point, but you've got to take him if he's available at 21. It's insane. He's such a specimen. Like he's like 8 foot tall or some shit.
Yeah.
He just bullies people day in, day out, and I love that the noise coming out of Indy from Matt Aberfus about how he's really getting into the playbook. He's really getting to grips with everything. And it's not just about taking the best player on the board in Quitty Pay, even though he was, with Danico Autry and Justin Houston going. We really needed to strengthen there, and you probably argue that actually we needed to strengthen there more so than say left tackle because of Big Q. With Autry and Houston going out, Toure and Banugi, the guys to lead the rush. Probably not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not down on those guys as such. I do like them, but they need to step up. They're not rookies anymore. They've really got to come in and do better. You can't ignore the athleticism and just the skill of Pay. He's an absolute beast. I can see him going in and doing some real damage on that line. I'm predicting maybe 12 to 15 sacks, maybe more.
Lawrence, I had Phillips or Pay for the Colts, and when both were there before the Dolphins pick at 19, I knew we was getting one of them.
Yeah.
And I love Quitty Pay. I love the pick. I read about his story, shall I say. And I think every team has the test and aptitude test and whatever you want to call them, interviews. And I think Quitty Pay just speaks to the Colts' values. He's humble, but he wants to always work harder. He loves the game and he's a dog. And I know Robert Mathis and Dwight Green still work behind the scenes with the Colts, maybe helping out a bit of training in this off-season sort of time. That's a dangerous combination now because offensive.
I'm so excited to see what Robert Mathis can do with Quitty. Oh man, it's dream kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, now the big thing is DeForest Buckner last year was getting to the quarterback, but he was getting to the quarterback half a second too late. And what the Colts have done now is brilliant. So the defensive line is going to have to pick either Quitty Pay or DeForest Buckner to double team. And
I mean, even Odi Ingbe, that's our second round pick.
Yeah,
guy's terrifying. Like you watch his tape. He's just going to absolutely muller people. It's so interesting to watch his tape. I was a little bit surprised he fell as low as he did, although there's a bit of talk about potentially a few injury problems with him, and there's a little bit of concern there. Obviously, with his he tore his Achilles in January, so it's understandable why he fell. But oh god, if he can get 90% of that speed back, boy, we've got some Tannehill's going to get beaten up.
Yeah. On to my next point, and that is probably besides Carson Wentz, this guy has the biggest make or break season ahead of him. That's Paris Campbell. Just read this comment quickly before we move on. The issue was Butner was getting pressure on the inside, but with no outside pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, exactly. And it did get exposed a lot last year. Maybe the only other guy who could held his head up in that room was Grover Stewart, who had an all right year. But yeah, you know, a big make or break time now for Paris Campbell. Obviously, just really sickeningly had a freak injury last year. It was horrible to see because we was looking forward to him so much because of the injury from the first year.
Yeah.
What are you hoping? Obviously, that he stays fit, but is this a make or break year for him? You think?
As much I hate to say it, yeah, it has to be, doesn't it? You know, I how many games has he played? Like 5, 4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not good. It's really not good. Yeah, he played 2 games last season, didn't he? And then had knee surgery to repair his PCL and MCL. I like what I've seen from him so far.
Yeah.
I'm more excited about Pittman as a potential, and having seen some of the tape from some of their sessions, even Patman looks like he's been getting on a lot of deep balls from Wentz. Obviously, it's low pressure stuff, right? It's, you know, they're not padded up or whatever, so it's too early to tell. But you know, he looks like he's got some ferocious speed. But yeah, it's got to be a big make or break season for Paris Campbell. I hope, you know, I hope that he can step in and probably help fill the void that is inevitably going to be T.Y. Hilton after this season. I don't imagine he's going to be sticking around much longer. So Paris Campbell's really got to step things up. I'm excited for him, while remaining a little bit nervous for him at the same time. But I'm excited for him and Pitt and Pascal. You know, I think we've got for once, I think we've got a really underrated wideout group. You know, wideouts has for a long while been T.Y. Hilton and a bunch of no ones. Yeah. So you know, just look at the room now compared to Moncrief, Dorset. You know, we're poles apart from that now, and things are finally looking up. But yeah, I mean, it's him. Like, I think you could argue that Banugi's got a big make or break year. You know, maybe he's got another year after that, perhaps. But he's not far off, and then Rock Ya-Sin's really got to step it up as well. I think Rock Ya-Sin actually potentially more so than Paris Campbell. Yeah, because Rock Ya-Sin showed flashes last year that he could be elite, but he's way too handsy and gives away way too many penalties that really kill us in big games as well. So he's really got to step shit up. But those two for sure have got big make or break years. Yeah,
we'll talk about Rock Ya-Sin. He's really divided the Colts fan base, let's say. I won't say I'm his biggest fan. You know, I'm not a guy to sit here and blow smoke up his arse. But Chris Ballard really does trust him. And, you know, I watched the exit interview out of last year, and Chris Ballard was saying, look, he just had a bad second year. It happens to corners. They get called tighter.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sort of erring on the side of it was an possibly, you know, it was an unfortunate year for the guy. I'd like to think that, like he was just being given a little bit more attention by teams, but you know,
yeah, it's one of that. I will say, I thoroughly enjoyed his suplex. I thought it was fantastic. Like,
yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
Worth it. Like, if you're going to get a fine and a flag, do it like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're going to be stupid and do it, at least do it in style, right?
Yeah. Anyway, on to the record prediction for next year. Apart from the obvious 17-0 and 3-0 in the playoffs, how do you see the season going for Carson Wentz and the Colts?
Just before we went live, I went on playoff predictors and I basically predicted every AFC South game, not just for the Colts, but for all of our rivals as well. And surprisingly, I've got us coming out 12-4.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win the division. We've got stronger. The Jaguars have got stronger. The Texans are the worst team in football. The worst run. The worst talent-wise. I feel sorry for Tyrod Taylor going into that absolute shitstorm of a situation. This poor guy. He deserves a little bit better. And then the Titans. I think they've really, really, really suffered. I think they're so much worse than they were this season. Yeah, they could come out of it all right if they do manage to land Julio. So let's hope that doesn't happen. I don't care where he goes as long as it isn't Tennessee. He really hurt me in fantasy last year, and I'm not going to forgive him for it. But yeah, no, I really hope he doesn't land there. But I've got us 12-4 with a 4-1 divisional. I've got the Titans 10-6. 10-6, but it could be 11-5 with a 4-1 divisional. Then the Jags 5-11 with a 2-3 divisional, and then the Texans will be the first team in history to go 0-17, 0-16, 0-17.
And then I don't think they have a first-round pick next year either, do they? Even if they do go 0-17, they won't have a first-round
No,
pick.
I think they do.
Oh, do they? I can't remember if they traded it away for Tunstall.
Laramie Tunsil. Yeah, the trade that keeps giving, isn't it? Jesus Christ. By the way, how well have Miami done out of that? They've done almost as well out of that as we did in the trade with the Jets, where they landed Darnold, and we got Nelson, we got Leonard, we got Braden Smith, and like two more dudes out of it. Yeah, no, we're fair play to Miami on that front. They've done really well.
I mean, for me, the crazy thing about this year is I think a 10-plus win season wins us the division. There's only so long the Titans can rely on Derrick Henry. You know, there's only so long he can keep taking 30 carries a game.
They've got even if he does end up being a bit of a Brock Lesnar, and that he's just that genetically superior to all other human beings that he can carry it for the next 4 years. They haven't got anything else.
Yeah.
They let Juju go. They let Humphreys go. They let Corey Davis go. You know, none of those guys were elite at their position, but they were still improvements on what they've replaced them with, or you know, they're still better than the parts they replaced them with, or the fact they haven't replaced some of them. They're going to struggle this year, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it because. Actually, I don't hate any of the guys in the division. To be fair, you know, the Jaguars and Houston are way too comical to hate, and the Titans, annoyingly, they've got some really good players that I do like watching. I am as much as I slated them on our AFC South episode last week. I do quite like Ryan Tannehill. It was just to really bait our Titans guest that week. I do like Tannehill. I do like Henry. You know, they've got a couple of pieces on the defense that do make games interesting. But you know, if we can watch them lose more games than we did this season, wicked.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm going to go along the baseline of the 12-win season would be an absolute success. I think we're better than that. I generally believe we are not Super Bowl winners, but I believe we are Super Bowl contenders.
I mean, I think we probably go to the AFC Championship game and lose to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
That's my initial assumption. I think I've got us losing to the Ravens again this year, losing one to the Titans. I think the Bills, and the Bucks. I think they're the 4 games that we're going to be hard pressed, but they're going to be just as tough for our opposition as it is for us. I just think in those games we may come up and come up a little bit short, mainly because we're not going to go 17-0, so they've got to trip up somewhere, right?
Yeah. That's the thing. Looking forward to the season, that's sure. What I want to move on to next is, I tweeted this out, and I would gladly put my neck out on the line, especially from Browns fans. I get a lot of stick, and Vikings fans. We have the best running back room in the league, and everyone can argue with me. But the thing is, this running back room is costing us $7 million for Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, Hines, and even Wilkins. That's a 1-1-2 punch.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit reluctant to agree with you on being the best running back in the room. I think the Vikings can go and get in the bin. They haven't got the best running back room in the league. Not a chance. I think I would give it to the Browns. I know they've certainly got the best 1-2 in the league.
Yeah.
I think we've got the best room for value in the league. The best room per dollar or whatever, however you want to phrase it. I think even with Mac out last year, our running back room is significant. No one focuses on Jordan Wilkins, and we didn't use him. We didn't even use him as much as I would have liked. I think Nyheim Hines might be the most underrated player in the entire league. That guy on third down is just, if he isn't already, he's borderline elite. And obviously JT showed us what he can do last year. He should have been in the running for Rookie of the Year. Third overall in scrimmage yards and touchdowns and whatever. Third, he was RB3 last year. Showed Clyde Edwards-Helaire what's what. I love our running back room. I like that it's committee. I like that we don't lean on a single piece. That we've got different weapons for different jobs. I mean, Hines as a receiving back might be the best in the league. No, forget that. Christian McCaffrey's insane. But for someone who actually plays games, Nyheim Hines right there, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay. A question I'm going to ask you now. I know you told me before we went live. It was just after the Super Bowl. Just before the Super Bowl, you became a Colts fan. But who was the player that inspired you to stick with the Colts?
Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I mean, that I think. So I was pretty casual for the first 4 or 5 years. I watched the Super Bowl every year, and that was the only bit of football I really paid attention to. Like every now and then, I'd have a look at the regular season, see how the Colts were doing, and checking up on things. I wasn't an enormous Peyton Manning fan, unlike now. Love the guy, but at the time, not being a huge fan, I wasn't. And then I decided to check things out just before the draft. I didn't really know what the draft was. And I saw that the Colts had sucked hard and they were getting the first pick. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Still not knowing what that means. I was like, well, does that mean we're going to get a good player? And then I looked at things, and all the hype around Andrew Luck. It was kind of like how you imagine a Jags fan felt this year with Trevor Lawrence, but times by 10, because Luck definitely better than Trevor Lawrence will ever be. I think him and Hilton and Reggie Wayne. And Pat McAfee as well. Actually, I remember the first. I can't remember who it was against. The first regular season game I watched, and just see Pat McAfee like planting people on the inside the 5 time and time again. I was like, that dude is a skilled guy. Like that guy is insane. Like talk about having an easy job but nailing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, my first like proper memory of Pat is onside kicking to himself against the Texans.
Yeah.
It was the absolute ball.
Insane.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, I love the on his show where he's spoken about it and saying that he just felt like he was going to die as he did it. Like he just expected to be destroyed and no one even touched him. Like, how asleep were the Texans, man? Jesus Christ! I've never seen a kicker / punter just do everything they do so well and with such style.
Yeah. Okay. So, who was your favorite offensive player, favorite defensive player, and special teams player? I know special teams player, the rookies, younger guys, fringe players, but if someone stood out on there of last season.
So offense, it's Nyheim Hines. I think everyone, including a lot of Colts fans, sleep on him. I think the guy's got an elite skill set that isn't recognised for what it is, potentially even by the organisation. You know, I know they love him, but I think he is underutilised. But I think that may even play to his advantage. Defensive player. I mean, it's really difficult not to say Buckner or Leonard because they were. I mean, we know what they are. You know, Buckner's right up there with what's that guy? And Donald. He's right up there with him, and obviously Leonard's going to be the highest paid linebacker in history within the year. But there were two. I can't pick between them, but there were two guys that I thought were insane last year, and that's Kenny Moore and Julian Blackmon. I mean, let's just forget about the fact that Blackmon in Tennessee was tackling and stopping Derrick Henry time and time again. I mean, this wiry little back, right?
He made Derrick Henry stop playing. He was
taking him down over and over again. He tackled him. I've lost count how many times he tackled him, dragging him to the floor, and Derrick Henry had no answer for it. He still ran for 100 yards. Didn't score a touchdown, but still ran for 100 yards. But Blackmon just owned him, and like his season was insane. As a rookie year, he was unreal. Kenny Moore, you know, his performance, particularly against the Raiders, was elite. I mean, Darren Waller is
a one-handed pick on Darren Waller.
Yeah, right. Like Darren Waller is insane, and I'm a big fan of Derek Carr as well. I really like Derek Carr. I think he's really unfortunate to have maybe the worst coach in the league in John Gruden. The guy's a clown, and he's still got 7 years on his contract. That's brilliant. But I think, Kenny Moore, he made Hunter Renfrow fumble as well in that game. It's just the guy was insane. He had a great game against the Packers as well. So I think those two for kind of outside picks. You know, it's easy to say Darius Leonard because he's the best linebacker in the league. Miss me with Bobby Wagner. I don't care. It's Leonard all day long. Buckner, you know, he's one of the best, if not the best, linemen, and he's only 6 years into his career. But Kenny Moore for me, absolutely elite. Xavier Rhodes as well. Who knew he was going to be such a success? You know, the scheme fitting indeed obviously much better than it was with the new coaches in Minnesota. But he had a great year, and I'm really delighted we kept hold of him.
Yeah, I mean, just before I want to move on to the next bit of the show, and special team players.
Yeah. It's really difficult to pick because Sanchez, Blankenship were fantastic, but Isaiah Rodgers as a kick returner, what a lad! Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in his actual position. I think he's cornerback, isn't he? So I'm really looking forward to actually seeing him on the defense this year.
Yeah.
But I hope he sticks on special teams as well.
Yeah, I love Isaiah Rodgers. He was, every year I pick one rookie to follow who gets picked up by the Colts, and Isaiah Rodgers was the guy last year and fell in love with him.
That return touchdown was something else.
He's got such a booming hit as well when he does tackle. But yeah, again, I just like to remind people that we picked up DeForest Buckner for one first-round pick.
One first-round pick. Yeah. Do you see how much Matthew Stafford went for this year? Do you know what I mean? Like Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
How much did the Chiefs give up for him? That was insane. He's Buckner, one pick. Absolutely amazing. That was the best piece of deal making all season.
Yeah. I mean, we had to suffer, Ryan Grigson absolutely just ruining Andrew Luck. So I think it's about time we got the good karma and got the best GM in the league.
And he is comfortably, isn't he? He's not even close. Comfortably the best GM in the league. And he's like, right at the beginning of his general manager career, we could have 20 years of this dude. Yeah.
I mean, I would like to throw the Dolphins GM out there, but
and the Browns for once have got a really nice situation over there. Mm-hmm. You could argue that the Jags are starting to look a bit better. The Jets have mixed things up and looking a bit better.
Mm-hmm. But the one thing I will say for the Dolphins is they have to use all the first round picks that they've got off the Texans, funnily enough, to try and rebuild a bit of an oil line for Tua, who spent most of last season running 80 yards to throw 3 yards.
Yeah. I mean, Tua's in a bit of a horrible situation there because he hasn't got a dreadful team around him, but he doesn't have much of an O-line. Mm-hmm. And it's difficult. It's difficult to build an entire O-line as quickly as they're trying to do it. And I think they've done really well in some of their acquisitions over the course of the year. And they're going to be a lot better. I'm dubious as to whether Tua's the answer. I think he's more. I think we might see him go down a little bit of the Tyrod Taylor, Jimmy Wilson kind of, Winston kind of route where he gets tossed around a bit, and he's not the guy.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, moving on to the last bit of the show. This is all about fun, so no pressure. But I have been keeping scores. It's just a couple of questions.
Shit. All right. This is where my historical knowledge falls. Makes me look stupid.
Do you know what the Oklahoma drill is?
I don't know.
Right. So basically, it's you get one guy. Well, you get two guys in like a pen, and it's like a sumo wrestle. They run at each other, and you've got to try and put the other guy on the deck or try and get past them. It's just usually a stress relief in training, let's call it, where two guys who are probably in a fight get a chance to run at each other. On one side of the ball, you got Big Q. On the other side of the ball, you got DeForest Buckner. Who's going to win that battle?
Big Q.
Big Q. Simple.
I don't care. I love DeForest Buckner. Like I said, he's potentially top. 1, 2, 3 lineman in the league. Yeah. Defensive lineman, sorry, but Big Q's the best offensive guard, best live offensive lineman in the league. There is no one even close to the guy. He protects. The way he protected Rivers last year, just pancaking players that he had no rights. Well, potentially no right to pancake. Covering his own position and then another position in the same play. I love Buckner, but no one's beating Big Q. Not a chance.
Yeah, I will say I'm looking forward to the Big Q Aaron Donald matchup.
Yes.
I'm not sure what week it is. I think it might be
2.
Week 2. Yeah,
I think so.
just get everyone else off the field, and whoever wins that battle wins the game. Just let them two just absolutely go at it, because that is a real clash of the Titans.
Yeah, you could argue that whoever wins that game will be the team with which player gets the better. If Nelson regularly gets the better of Donald, the Colts are going to win that game. If Donald's getting the better of Q, the Rams might go and do it. That's how close it's going to be. I've got the Colts winning that one by a score. Well, less than a score, in fact.
Okay, my last question, and the most important question. Game-winning drive, Super Bowl, you're on the 25-yard line. It's the best Colts team you could ever imagine put together, the best Colts offense you could ever imagine put together. Apart from you're the coach, you have a choice of quarterback. You have Peyton Manning. You have Andrew Luck. Who are you taking to win you the Super Bowl?
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck.
He's my guy. He's my guy. I didn't see enough of Peyton Manning at the time to throw my hat into the ring for him. Andrew Luck's my guy.
Yeah.
Best, like even now, even with a certain guy in Tampa winning things still, being called the GOAT, which I will concede he probably is because he's won more than everybody else. He's not the most talented quarterback at all. Yeah. But his mentality and his work ethic and everything that goes into being a quarterback, I'll give it to him. He's the GOAT, begrudgingly. But Andrew Luck, for me, is the most talented quarterback I've ever seen play football. He's better. Mahomes, sure, great. He's not there yet. But Andrew Luck's the most talented quarterback I've ever watched play football. In the game where they came back from, I can't remember what, 33 points to 10 or something in against KC in the playoffs. The game-winning pass to T.Y. Hilton didn't have a great amount of pressure on him, but the way he slung it right down the middle of the field through coverage, T.Y. Hilton had double coverage, and it was just pinpoint perfect. No one passes the ball like that at the moment. No one is that accurate. It was insane. So yeah, I absolutely give Luck the job, 100%.
Yeah. No, that's it. Throw your hat into the ring for your guy.
I wouldn't sniff if Peyton was the only choice I had, right? I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, just to make this clear, we're not saying Peyton Manning is a bad quarterback.
Sure, yeah, no.
Yeah. But it is interesting because I do have guests on here of all different ages and eras, and the older guys are more likely to say Peyton Manning because that's all they've seen, and the younger guys tend to say Andrew Luck because that's all we've seen. It's a shame we couldn't protect him because just imagine Andrew Luck behind this oil line. This team is
Ryan Grigson.
Super Bowl champions without a doubt.
Right, Ryan Grigson has a lot to answer for, man. If I ever have the displeasure of running into him.
My one question for him would be, why did you give the greatest quarterback of our generation, at least, a defensive coach?
Yeah.
It's
going to sound really cutthroat to say this. When Pagano was out with cancer and Arians came in and did a really good job.
Yeah.
Just stay with the guy that's actually doing really well and don't go back to the guy, albeit ill, don't go back to the guy that's not as good.
Yeah.
A bit harsh, but, business. From a business sense, go with the guy that's going to win you more.
I absolutely love Chuck Pagano as a person.
As a defensive coach, he was fantastic.
Phenomenal defensive coach.
But I don't want that in a league that you have to be able to play on offense.
Yeah, you don't want that in a league when you've got T.Y. Hilton in his prime and Andrew Luck throwing to him.
Yeah. Even like the last couple of years of Reggie Wayne. Why waste them with a guy that doesn't know how to win games offensively?
Yeah.
And isn't being given the bits to defend him either, really.
It says it all when when Ryan Grigson did get the sack, that Reggie Rain tweeted, "It's now we can play some ball."
Yeah,
and that's
right.
a defensive guy. Sorry, yeah. That's one of the best players the Colts have had, Reggie Wayne. Not defensive guy, obviously, but it was just, we can forget about it because now we've got the best GM in the league, Chris Ballard. That's all the questions I had for you, really, Nate. If there's anything you want to ask now, or that's burning a hole in your pocket, just get it on the table.
Fuck, you put me on the spot here.
It's you don't have to come up with a question. It's just if you wanted to talk about something, if you saw something in the news that you was like, "Oh, this is interesting."
I don't really.
Like I say,
I mean, I tell you, I've got a little bit of what might be considered a hot take.
Yeah, go on, do it. We love hot takes on this show.
I don't want Julio in Indy.
Oh yes, go on. This is a good one.
So yes,
is this to do with your fantasy team before we start?
No, because I'm not drafting him again. Jesus. No, so it's all about development of future players. We have a young core in that wide receiver room. We've already got T.Y. Hilton who's going to take targets off of Campbell, off of Patman, off of Pitt, off of Pascal. Why add? I don't like. For me, Julio's just going to go and eat into their playtime, their targets, their experience, their development. Sure, behind the scenes, he might be able to give them some insight into what it means to be an elite pass catcher. But they've already got T.Y. Hilton, who maybe you could argue possibly never quite hit the elite status, was always there or thereabouts, but never hit that elite status. But I think the amount of money, I think the trades cost, I think the contract cost, and I just think the development for the guys who would naturally slot in behind him, it's just too much. It's too expensive. They're not going to get enough of him in the back room or off the field to make up for what they lose on the field. So for me, Julio's a no-go.
Do you think?
And I don't think he makes us. I don't think he's the difference between us being Super Bowl contenders and Super Bowl champions this year. So why waste the money?
Yeah. Do you think if T.Y. Hilton didn't re-sign, it's a different story?
Absolutely. If T.Y. had gone to the Ravens, like he was looking like he was going to at one point, then I think you throw your hat in the ring and you go and grab Julio with both hands.
Yeah.
But the situation as it is now, no chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reason for me, you said T.Y. Hilton and that elite status. I think...
But it's Brian Grigson. It's as much Brian Grigson's fault as it is T.Y.'s. And there are things that T.Y. Hilton did, where, like last season, dropping passes he should never have dropped.
Yeah.
He's had problems with injuries on and off throughout the years. Mm-hmm. So you can hardly blame him for the injuries, but it's something that stopped him from attaining that level. Ryan Grigson is as much to blame as anybody else. In fact, he's more to blame because he couldn't protect Luck in that.
And I mean, T.Y. Hilton wasn't T.Y. Hilton we all know and love last year. That's no secret. He didn't have the year we wanted him to have.
Not until he went to NRG, no.
Yeah, I saw a crazy stat, and I think it's something like he's eighth. He's like one of the top receivers for in the NRG stadium.
Didn't he catch? Yeah, there was. I can't remember what it is now. I'm really bad for seeing really funny stats.
Yeah.
On Reddit.
Yeah,
and then trying to recall them like 3 weeks later and butchering the stat completely. But yeah, he's like in the top 5 receivers in touchdowns scored at NRG.
Crazy.
I mean, it's something along those lines, which is fantastic. He might be the top. I'm just going to go and put it out there. He's the all-time leading touchdown scorer at NRG. Why not?
It will be at the end of this season.
Make it up, whatever.
It will be at the end of this season, that's for sure.
Just dump on the Texans. They're trash. They're a dumpster. Deshaun's not going to play football again ever. Like, what a world we're living in, eh?
Yeah, I mean,
wild.
I don't know what it is about what I love about T.Y. Hilton. I think what gets missed a lot is he demands double coverage just by his name. You know,
even last year where he was dropping balls left, right, and center and couldn't get open, he was still double covered more than anybody else in our games.
Yeah. Anyway, we went on a little bit of a tangent there, but that's fine. That's what we're here to do. We're here to talk Colts football. That's all I had for today's show. Nate, thanks for coming on. Do you just want to again plug your show, plug your?
Yeah. So my podcast is the Un-American Football Show. You can follow us in various places at Tough Show, TUF Show. Some places there's an underscore, some places there's not. Twitter, Tough Show _ At the moment, we're in a little bit of a run of divisional games, divisional episodes rather, where we're going through and we're reviewing the previous season, the off season, and the next season. So we've finished the AFC episodes now, and we're moving on to the NFC. Then we're gonna have a little bit of a break. For some reason, we are gonna live stream our fantasy draft. Because why not, right? Why not? I don't know. No one's going to be interested in it. I don't know whether we'll live stream it or just record it and put it on YouTube. But we're gonna move into doing some YouTube stuff this coming season. And we're always looking for people who want to get involved, want to come on the show, want to contribute. We've got a Discord server where we're just accepting any Tom, Dick, and Harry who likes football. We've got a few spaces open on our fantasy league. It's a redraft league where we don't have a kicker or a defense, and instead we're going with 3 defensive players and a super flex. And there are divisions. There are 4 team divisions. We've got a few spaces on that that have been opened up. So if you fancy a bit of a strange fantasy league, come and join us, man. It's all good, but it's all fun. And hopefully we've got a Jags fan, we've got a Texans fan, and we've got a Titans fan. So as long as you come in and you commit to beating those guys, then we're good.
Excellent. This has been UK Colts fans. This episode, you can watch instantly on YouTube. The audio version will be available on Anchor. Go and check it out on our Twitter page, UK Colts fans. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for joining in. See you all later. Good night.